Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrew. I, like many other readers, have found myself in the middle of so many series, and I was compiling this list and I just realized like it was more than I thought. Like it's still a lot. I know there's people that are in more series than this, but still it was just, and I just kept, so many things are series like that I didn't realize are series. I'm just gonna keep it simple here. So I saw Jordan, I don't know how to say her last name. I'm going to leave her video linked in my description because her video was like, I've seen several people do this, but like the way she structured this is kind of how I want to do it. So thanks for the idea, Jordan. Yeah, so I actually did rank these. I'm gonna rank all these series I'm in the middle of from what is my least excited about to most excited about. So every single one of these series, and I have rules here. I'm not counting any series that I've completed, and I'm not counting any series that all it has to have happened, or I have to have at least finished the first book. There are some series where I had DNF'd the first book. I have to have finished the first book all the way through, and the series has to be complete, and I'm on my way to catch up to it, or I'm already caught up on the series. So I'm not counting any series that are complete that I have also completed. Like I'm only here to talk about series that I want to finish, or I'm in the middle of, or have started, and I don't plan to finish. I'm just gonna go through all these series that I've read the first book and just give my general thoughts. So because I don't want this video to be 4 hours long, there will not be synopses, none of that. So let's just get started. So the first series, the one that it's Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I talked about this in series I probably won't finish, and I don't know if I've I'm not gonna give it a full review or whatever. It's just not for me. The first book is just every single villain has the same reason for being the villain, and it's present tense, which I've learned that I hate. And I've seen several people mention it, like they don't love it either, so it's actually not it seems like it's more commonly disliked than I expected. So anyways, that's just Red Rising. Like maybe we'll read the second book because the way it's discussed, as I said in the other video, but that is definitely like the one I am least excited about of everything that I've read on this list. Like somehow that is least exciting. Then we have Delirium by Lauren Oliver, which I read the first book and I was like, I'll probably continue. I don't know if I thought I was going to continue. I don't know if I thought I was going to continue when I finished it, but it's very unlikely at this point because there's just so many other series, as you will see, that I'm way more interested in than this one. It's just like a dystopian YA thing. It's like, I think it came out after the craze, kind of, so I don't really know. I don't know. I don't really remember anything about, I don't remember any of the characters' names. I don't remember anything about the plot other than like how the book ends, because it like ends on kind of a cliffhanger. So like I'm not going to continue. Next up we have Ace of Shades, which I'm pretty sure I had this in an unhaul video, and I've had it in my unhaul pile for a really long time. I need to unhaul it because I finished it. I didn't like it. I think I gave it a 3-star. I'm not going to continue the series. It just wasn't for me. But apparently it's described as House of the Rising Sun meets Six of Crows. I think I googled House of the Rising Sun. I can't figure out what that is. But if you know what it is and you like Six of Crows and the other thing, sure. I don't know. Next up we have Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, which has left my home, and I don't think I will be reading. I'm just not gonna read anything else by Rainbow Rowell. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff around her that you can look into if you want to, that just makes me feel not great about reading her books. So, plus the book, I didn't like it. The book was just boring. Like it was just not that great in the first place. So we don't need it. Then we have Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. And I really wanted to read Stalking Jack the Ripper by her because it's like historical fantasy, which I love. The Diviners, which is another example of that. So I was like, okay, well maybe I can love this. But after reading this book, I don't think I'm going to read anything else by Carrie Maniscalco because this was just so deeply just okay to me that I don't want to read. Like her writing is it's serviceable, but it's not anything that really speaks to me, if you will. It just doesn't do that. It's just, like the book is just very like relying on the he's hot thing. Like I don't, not for me. I'm scared to mention this next one because I don't think I've mentioned it I think I maybe commented on someone else's video. I've commented a couple other negative videos about this series, and it makes me really upset. I'm gonna go into all of it about why, whatever. So the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. I think that this book, I truly don't get it. I know people say that's the point, but I really want to find like a 5-star book by a Black author, and like this was not it, but it seemed like this would be it because of the way everyone else talks about it. But once I got into these pages and I got into this story, no. This is Grimdark, which I'm discovering I don't like. Red Rising was another revelation for me where I was like, I don't like dark stories. I don't want to read about depressing stuff. Like, I'm just already sad enough in life sometimes. That sounds dramatic. It's not that deep, but I just don't want to read about it. I just don't want to read about it because this is very sad, but it's not even that. Like, that's not even my biggest issue. My biggest issue is it's just like the writing style went so over my head. And I've heard so many people that I adore their videos and I love their, like, I really value their opinions on books. Like, this is like hailed as a masterpiece. So, you know, but I really need to find a 5-star book by a Black author. So any suggestions? I'm gonna check out Octavia Butler because I really hope, but I just said I don't want her to be sad. So I don't know if she's gonna be for me either. And I really need, I don't know. But as far as this book, it just was not my taste. Mostly I think because of her writing style and because I was spoiled for the end, which I feel like is a big thing to be spoiled for. And I don't really remember like who said it first or how I don't know. It just, to me, I just knew when I went into this book what was gonna happen. And I feel like that took away some of the mystery of it, I guess. And it just wasn't, I don't know, but I don't really think I'm gonna take, because like and the fact that it's her writing style for me, and my biggest issue with it is the writing style with it is like, okay, so am I gonna be able to enjoy anything by her? Because I have her entire Inheritance trilogy, and I've heard like the themes in that are kind of similar to Strange the Dreamer, which is like one of my all-time favorite books. So I still have hope that that series could be an all-time favorite for me. But this was not it, and I'm not going to continue the series. No. And I'm sad about it, and I feel like I have to defend it forever and ever and ever, but it's okay. Sometimes books just aren't for you, and it's not. I hate it. I wanted to love this so bad. Like, I wanted to love this so bad, but I just can't be fake. Okay, next we have the Devabad Trilogy, which is another book that is, I don't think that the author of this series, I think she's white. So I feel less bad about this. Not that I should feel bad for disliking a book by a author of color. I just want to find 5-star books by authors of color because like, that's what I'm trying to do. So again, send me recommendations. But this was just not, I didn't like the characters. Like, the main complaint I have with this was the character. Like, the world was fascinating and the plot was pretty good, but I just found the characters to be a little lackluster, and the writing was pretty decent. Like, this was a 3-star read for me, but I just don't care enough to continue the series. Like, there are other series I'm much more interested in, like, besides this. Like, I'm more interested in Jade City and the Poppy War, which I haven't started either of the first book in those series, but I have more hope for those series still. Even though this is constantly described as like a good bridge for young adult to adult fantasy readers, and I agree. And if you think you're gonna enjoy like Egyptian mythology, like, you should check this out. Like, I still recommend this. If you can get attached to the characters and be interested in the world, or maybe you are more into like world building as a part of that's what you're reading for, is the world building, then you probably will enjoy. There's a lot of good lore about like jinn and stuff in here. So like that, it's definitely, like, even though I gave it a 3-star, I still think it's like worth the hype somehow. But I love what Mara from Books Like Woe says about world building and how it's like masturbatory and how it's doing more for the author than it is for the reader, because I relate to that. Not that Miss Chakraborty is doing it for herself, but I just don't care about world building that much. Like, I'm much more into like urban fantasy. Like, I have said this in several other videos, like, it's just, high fantasy is so the thing on BookTube. But then I read something like Strange the Dreamer and it's high fantasy, and I'm like, okay, so maybe I can get into high fantasy. So again, just not for me. Maybe if you're into jinn mythology, world building, Egyptian mythology, I still recommend it. I definitely recommend it if you're those things. So moving on, I have another one that's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt real bad, like real bad. So Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo was in my most disappointing reads of 2021. 2021 had to be 2021. Maybe 2020? I don't know. I'm gonna reread this. So, but I gave it a 2 because again, it has this like gritty tone to it that I don't know if I like, because, and you can tell, I think you can tell from the series that are at the bottom of the list and are my least interested in series. I think I'm coming to the conclusion, I don't know if you are, I don't know if we're on the same page here, but I'm learning that gritty, if anybody describes a book as gritty, I think I'm less likely to be into it. So yeah, but I am going to reread this book and see if it just was me at the time, if it was a mood thing, I don't know, but I have to be in the right mood to read this again, because obviously I want the book to have its best chance, and people can argue all day long whether rereading matters or not. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out for myself still, so we'll see. There you go. All right, next up we've got An Ember in the Ashes, which I loved the first book. I loved the first book. And then I read the second book and I enjoyed most of the second book, and I could see myself continuing this series like mostly just on audio, but the second book did something I really didn't like. And I can't tell you without spoilers. So I guess I could just say no, because I really don't want to give any spoilers away at all. But if you want to know like what it is about the second book, I will be glad to tell you. You can leave a comment, you know, if we're gonna discuss spoilers, maybe we can move that conversation to Instagram. But let me tell you, this had so much potential. And the second book, it's really just something at the end of the second book, because even the entire process of reading most of the second book, I still enjoyed. So I don't know, but this is just not, again, there are so many other series I'm more interested in, clearly, because this is still like at the bottom 10, bottom 15. Moving on. Another one that's I'm just full of series that are going to hurt people. Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe. I think I'm going to unhaul this one. I haven't officially put this in an unhaul video, but to me, this was pitched as a male-male romance about two boys that fall in love. And to me, I thought it was like going to be like halfway through the book, they fall in love. And I don't know. I think I would reread this, but Benjamin Hilaire-Sans has done some transphobic things, I think. I haven't looked into it super deep, but authors just really need to chill out. Like, they just need to stop tweeting. Just stop tweeting. Just delete Twitter, because I just didn't enjoy this. I think I gave it a 4 on Goodreads, but like, that's not true. It's probably like a 2. 2's harsh. Probably like 3. Probably a 3, because like I did enjoy the coming of age aspects of this, but it was not like something that I clearly I'm wrong, because this is like so many awards. The Stonewall Award, no, I didn't read the same book as all of these people who gave this award. It was, I mean, I heard the audiobook has like, it's narrated by Lin-Manuel Miranda, so maybe that's why I got so high. I don't know, but when you read it physically, it doesn't hit the same, in my opinion. Also, I didn't know this was part of a series. Well, it wasn't a part of a series, and then like years, like literally just this year, he came out with the second book. So there you go. I don't know. Sorry if the angle's different. My battery died. So the next series that I'm in the middle of is Howl's Moving Castle. I finished the first book like 2 days ago, and I already watched the movie. I think I preferred the movie, and I don't think I'm going to continue the series because I just kind of got what I wanted out of this first book. So it kind of reads like a standalone, I feel like. I don't really feel the desire to continue the series. Simple enough. Okay, next we have the Remnant Chronicles, which I read the first book and I gave that 4 stars, and I actually really enjoyed the first book, which is The Kiss of Deception. And then I read like 70 to 80% of the second book, and I don't know what happened, but I just like didn't care anymore. And I think I could enjoy this series, but I don't know. It feels like it's one of those like it's kind of past its time kind of series in a way. And there's no LGBT characters, and of course we don't have to have that in every book, but why not? And I would rather read series that do have LGBT characters over that. So that's kind of why it's so far down the list. But it was well written, it was well paced, it was interesting. The first book was it had a really interesting, not kind of gimmick. Gimmick has a bad connotation, but I don't mean it in a bad way. I could be convinced to complete the series because a lot of people say the conclusion is satisfying, so I could be convinced to read the whole trilogy. I don't know. I probably would just start at the second book because I remember how the first book ends, so I don't feel like there's any reason to reread it, because once you know how it ends, the mysteries, I just don't think it would have much of an impact on reread. Next up, we've got The Raven Boys, which I thought I was going to love this because I love paranormal, urban fantasy, light magic, ley line magic. Like, I listened to the first 2 of these on audiobook. I think I'm going to reread the first book physically because I don't know. I don't know if Maggie Seawater's writing doesn't translate as well via audio. I still enjoyed them. Like, I still gave the first one 4 stars, but I just watched Meg with books. Like, she read this whole series, and I'm kind of worried I'm going to have the same opinions, that it just kind of feels very, I don't know, but I heard like she's misdirecting you on purpose. I don't know. I'm curious people's thoughts on this series because I wanted to love this so bad, but I still gave both of the books 4 stars, but I just don't know if I feel that compelled. I think I enjoyed the first book more than the second book, which seems to be an unpopular opinion, and most people say the second book in the series is their favorite book in the series. I'm like, oh, that's as good as it gets? Then I don't really want to read the next 2. But, feel free to make your state your case in the comments. After that, we've got Wolf Song by TJ Kloon. The main reason I don't want to continue this series is because the first book has a male-male romance, and it's pretty much concluded in the first book. And the following books follow different characters and their romances. But, see, I don't know. This is like a maybe I would continue it. I would be interested to see what happens next, and I would like to see I enjoyed the characters enough, so I maybe would want to read the next books to see the original characters again, but I don't know how much time we get with them in the following books, and it's like a 4-book series, and it's just not calling to me as much as other series. Again, a common theme with all this entire list. Next up, we have The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, which I just finished this like last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, and pretty satisfied with how this, I can see how there's room to continue and make another book in the series, and I enjoyed this a lot. I really like Monty as a character, but I didn't like love it. Like, it was pretty good. It wasn't like super favorite, want to reread it forever. Like, it wasn't on that level for me. So, not going to continue the series. Okay, this next one is The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer, and I have read the first 3 books in this series, and I actually loved Cinder. I think I gave it a 4.25. Like, it was so good, and I feel like everyone says that it's like weak and it's not a good start to a series. Like, y'all are wrong. Like, people who think that, I don't agree with you. This is such a good start, and it's such a good retelling of Cinderella, but Scarlet, no. And then Cress, I liked probably as much as Cinder, maybe even a little bit more than Cinder, but like, these books are just like, I agree that they're very plot focused, which I think is Marissa Meyer's strong suit. Like, her strengths lie in the plot and kind of in the romance. So while I enjoyed those aspects of her writing, she doesn't really hit all-time favorite. Like, it's not like every single book has to be an all-time favorite. It doesn't, like, it doesn't have to, but like, I want to be continuing. There are so many series out there that, like, if I'm not getting those feels, like, I'm gonna try a different series. I do have other books by her I'm still interested in. I'm still gonna probably continue the Renegade series. Eventually, I'm gonna read Arch Enemies, and I'm definitely gonna read Heartless. So, but the Lunar Chronicles, I'm just gonna kind of leave it where it was in the past, because again, a lot of these, I feel like the hype for them is like in the past. So it's like, I'm just like getting into, I don't know, but of course, the Shadowhunter Chronicles, that's a different story for me. But yeah, this just kind of feels like we're leaving it in the YA dystopian sci-fi craze of whatever year it was this came out. So, but I do enjoy these. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed these. So we're moving into like, I enjoyed it, and I maybe will continue one day territory from here on out. So I actually just mentioned this, but yeah, the next one is Renegades by Marissa Meyer, and I read the first book, gave it a 3.5. I talked about my feelings of it in more detail in like that video I did about if Emma books favorite series are my favorite series. I'll link it on the screen, but I enjoyed it. I think I will continue the series. I just don't know when, but they're easy. Like, her books are so easy to read, so why not? Okay, and the next one is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, which everybody that I follow is like doing a what are they calling it? The Hobb-along? Is that what they're called? I don't know. So many booktubers are reading Robin Hobb. So, you just want to get in there. You want to get in on it when everyone else is getting in on it. Like, it's just what you want. You just want to be a part of like you just want to participate. You want to join the club, And I gave the first book a 3 because it had elements that I liked, elements I didn't like. I have a whole review, a spoiler-free review for the first book, but I do want to continue the series. Like, I definitely want to continue this to eventually get to Live Chip Traders, but I also think that maybe the second book is going to make me enjoy the Farsia trilogy. I don't know. We'll see. Because I mean, the hype for Robin Hobb is insane right now. Like, people are obsessed. Okay. Next we have A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is such a popular series that I feel like everyone's heard of. I've only read the first book. I do want to read the second book because I've heard there's like Hades Persephone vibes in the second book, and it's fun, I guess. Like, it's fantasy romance, which like I enjoy. And I think I gave this 4-star. It was like 3.75 to 4. Like, it was pretty enjoyable, to be honest. I just know Sarah J. Maas has, you know, there's problematic stuff around her. But again, I've said this in another video. You can, I think, my opinion, is that you can understand things are problematic and still read them and enjoy them. So it's just important to call them out when you notice them or when you're aware of them. But as far as this book's concerned and the series is concerned, I will be continuing. I'm feeling slightly more than just okay on it. Like, I mean, it was fine. It was good. Don't get me wrong. Like, it was good. I liked it more than most of the things that I've already discussed so far. So, but it's just not, it's not hitting the all-time fave level that it seems to for so many other girlies. Because again, I want LGBT people in my books. Like, I just want to see, I mean, it doesn't have to be only gay men. Like, I mean, we see some trans characters, some lesbian characters, some bisexual characters, like the whole rainbow, literally. Like, that's what I want to see. And I think there's a lesbian character in here later on in the series. I don't know. I'm pretty sure. Again, I'm talking about all these for way too long. So yeah, I'm feeling slightly more than just okay about this series. Moving on. Next, we have A Great and Terrible Beauty, or the Gemma Doyle trilogy by Libba Bray, who wrote the Diviner series, which I've talked about so many times. I have reviews for the first 2 books. It was in my favorite series of 2021. Favorite series of the year. It's an all-time favorite series. So I was like, okay, well, she wrote my all-time favorite series, so I need to read her other series. And I enjoyed the first book of this. I gave a 4-star, and then I got over halfway through the second book, and I DNF'd it. But I am going to either restart the second book or go to like 30 to 40% into the second book and just kind of pick up from there, because Libba Bray, to me, is an author who just deserves me to buy all her books. She doesn't have that many. She only has like this trilogy, the Diviner series, and like 2 standalones. So it's nothing crazy, because she doesn't write very fast, because she makes this first book was really good. So I'm hoping that like maybe it's like a book 2 slump, and then we'll get back on track in book 3 and it'll be a great conclusion, but we'll see. But based off the conclusion of the Diviners, like the Diviners doesn't have like the best conclusion I've ever read, but I just love those characters so much that I forgave a lot, not gonna lie. So I don't know, but I do want to read this series. And I know other series that came out around this time, I just said, we'll just leave them in like the time they came out in, and we'll leave them in the past and blah, blah, blah. But for me, no, I'm gonna give Libba the benefit of the doubt. I just am. Sorry about it. Next we have Beartown, which I actually annotated, unlike every other book that you've seen so far. Love my channel name, because I hardly ever actually annotate. But this one was real powerful, real impactful, really enjoyed this. I don't know if I want to read the next 2 books in the series. I know the second book is already out. I don't know when the third book is coming out. I'm not going to read the next 2 books because I was pretty satisfied. Even though I'm pretty sure the ending to this had something wild happen, but the conversation that Bachman is leading you to have and the points he's trying to make, like, got it. But like, that sounds bad. I really, really like the way he did it in here, and I really appreciated this book. I just feel like all I need is this one book. I don't need the following books to belabor the point. I don't need it. So I'm happy with this one. So I don't know why this is so high up, honestly, because I'm not going to continue the series. And I am going to continue some of these other series I just mentioned. I think I just enjoyed it on the same level as like these other first books in series, so it had to go somewhere. Here it is, but not going to read the next 2 books in the series. Next, I did read the prequel to, I think the next book is called A Dead Gin in Cairo. Okay, so I read A Dead Gin in Cairo, which is like a prequel to Peter Jelly Clark's novel, A Dead Jinn in Cairo. And the prequel was so short, but I remember a lot of what happened in that, to be honest. And I remember I read it right after City of Brass because I saw it was like about Jinn, and I'd heard pretty good things about Peter Jelly Clark. And I was like, let me give him a try. I need to continue because I really liked just that little tiny bit of his writing that I got. I really liked it. So clearly I need to continue on. So like, yeah, he's up there for me, for sure. But the one thing I read is so short, like I don't want to give any spoilers, but I just know it's a prequel for the main novel, and I need to read Ring Shout because I've heard amazing things. I've heard it's got like horror vibes, and as we talked about, I love the Diviner. Like I'm into horror. Even though I also said in this video earlier, I don't like gritty stuff, but I like horror. So contradictions. Welcome to contradictions.com. I don't know. Next up, we have A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This series, my friends, this series has such polarizing opinions. And I just in my own head have polarizing opinions on this series. Because let me tell you, the first book, I loved it. I loved the first book. And then the second book was like a 3-star. So I only need to read the third book, and I know she's continuing on I don't know if she's going to do another trilogy, or I don't know how she's going to do it, but I really like V.E. Schwab's writing, and I like her plots, but her characters just don't really hit for me. But the plot of this, and I remember certain lines in this first book that talk about magic in a way that I just love. Like I just love the way magic is like viewed by people, and I loved this first book so much. Like it was a 4. It was a solid 4. It wasn't anything over a 4, but it was really good. But then we got book 2, and it was like Lila Bard is going to be shoved in your face. The whole book. She's just going to be shoved in your face. The whole entire book. The whole book. So I still have high hopes for book 3. Again, I'm hoping it's going to be like we enjoy book 1. We have a book 2 slump, but we book 3 brings it back around, which is, what series did I just say I was hoping it's going to happen? Oh, I literally was just talking about the Gemma Doyle trilogy. So hopefully this will be kind of like that, because if I enjoy the third book, I want to have a completed series, and I want to be able to say I enjoy it some, but I can understand the critiques of it, I want to just be able to let the girlies know. I don't know, but I just don't know if this is going to hit that all-time favorite level for me. I just don't know, because it is very polarizing, even in my own brain, as I said. But I am going to complete the series, 100%. I'm sure I will eventually finish the third book. Okay, next we have Vicious, also by V.E. Schwab. And I gave this a 4-star, but I really liked it. I feel like this is V.E. Schwab's best character work I've read, but it's still V.E. Schwab's character work, not other authors' character work that I've liked more. But again, the plot, the writing, the philosophical discussions in here, it is, yes, I enjoyed this definitely more than, I'd say I probably enjoyed the first Darker Shade of Magic book and this one about the same, but I definitely enjoyed this way more than the second Darker Shades of Magic book. But I am definitely going to continue on with the series, and I know there's a lot of debate on whether the second book should have happened or not, and that if this should have been a standalone or blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna read the second book and we'll see which way I fall. I'm hoping to enjoy it even more than the first book, obviously. I'm hoping to, but we don't know. I'm definitely going to continue the series, but I know V.E. Schwab, I don't know when she's going to come out with the third book in the series, so I don't know if I'm going to wait till there's some news on that. I don't know, but this can be read as a standalone. So, but I'm glad there's more, because I feel like there's enough concepts in here to make a series out of it. I feel like there's enough I can easily see plot points that we can create from what happened in this book. I can just so easily see how to develop it. So the fact that I feel that way makes me feel like I'm going to be satisfied with the sequel, but I'll let you know when I find out. Another series that I read the first book for was The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, who is an author that I feel like most people that I trust really enjoy her books. It's a YA mystery series, and it's YA Criminal Minds. I've never seen Criminal Minds, but it's Criminal Minds, and then the characters all have these heightened abilities, kind of, sort of, not powers, but I don't know. It was good. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. A lot of people say the second book is the best in the series, so I want to read the second book for sure, and then we'll see if I enjoy the second book even more. Then I'm going to keep going. But yeah, I really like mystery shit. I have learned this year that was it this year? I mean, I've known it. I've always known I really enjoy mystery plots. So mystery stuff usually will get higher ratings from me because I love a good mystery. Speaking of, we have this thing that is showing up in every single what I'm currently reading video ever, and this is the Sherlock Holmes series, and I have only finished the first book and desperately need to continue because I think just because the first book was such a letdown, I'm kind of like worried. Like I'm worried about what's going to happen next and if I won't enjoy it. And I don't want that to be the case, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Like I think it's most people that I saw that read the first book had the same opinion as me, so I just need to continue and just get over it. But you have to know what Sherlock Holmes is. You have to. Okay, then we have the Fence graphic novels, which, as I have said several times earlier in this video, how I want LGBT stuff in my series or my whatever I'm reading. I definitely need to continue this because I loved how it was like slow burn enemies to lovers happening here, and like this guy he was so angry at his like. He has it's like rivals to lovers, I'm hoping. I don't know. I need to continue. All I know is that like this guy, he grew up fencing with his dad and he was like really supposed to be the best. And then he meets this other guy at like a tournament and the other guy's like, haha, I'm better than you, I'm the best, like blah, 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 blah. And then they end up having to be roommates. But I don't think it was about them yet. Like it wasn't even about them getting together. But obviously that's what I'm hoping for because I love enemies to lovers. But I need to continue that. I need to read the next volumes in that series for sure. So we're starting to get into like the series I'm actually very excited for. So woohoo. So this next one is more of a companion series, but that's The Hate You Give. I don't know. World? It's not a world. They're all contemporaries, but it's like there's Star Carter, who is an iconic character. But then we have, I think I own Concrete Row, so I need to read that one. And then the other one, she also has On the Come Up, but I don't think that's connected to these. It might be, I don't know. I for sure need to read Concrete Row, which is about her dad. And her dad was such a fascinating character, so I need to read about Maverick. That's his name. I need to read about Maverick because like the way he's discussed in this book, it's clear that he has a very interesting backstory. So need to read. Next up I've got Vampire Academy by Michelle Mead. Listen, the writing in the series is bad. Like the writing is not good, but the plot and the romances and the like it's trash, but like it's so entertaining. And the way book 3 of this year, I've read the first 3 books, and the way book 3 ends had me like gagged, honey. Like I was like, oh, we still have 3 books to go. Like what is gonna happen next? I need this one. Yeah, no, I'm very excited to complete this series, which is not well written and I don't recommend it, but of course you're gonna love it. Like, I mean, come on, I'm trash for like Vampire Academy, like Teen Wolf, like all of that paranormal shit. Like I eat it up. Shadowhunters, like hello. So if you like Shadowhunters, obviously you're gonna probably love Vampire Academy because it's just like Shadowhunters with like, but it's just focused on the vampire part of the Downworlders. But like, obviously it's not the same thing. But this is definitely not as well written. But man, yeah, can't wait. Okay, and then the next is the Heroes of Olympia. So I read all of Percy Jackson about a year ago at this point, and I want to continue on with all of the sequel series by Rick Riordan, and I read the first book, which was a little bit disappointing, but this one I think I'm like maybe 10% into it, so, and I'm enjoying it. We're vibing. I don't know, and I said this before in other videos, I think, but Uncle Rick, I just prefer him in first person, I think. Like I just had a real struggle getting into the first book, and the second book, I think a lot of people like they say that Heroes of Olympia is their favorite series, but I'd be curious if you've read Uncle Rick's books, which of his series is your personal favorite. But I think he's better at first person. But that's just me, and I'm just one person. So, but that's my opinion. But we'll see. I might completely change my mind by the end of this series and think it's like the best, but we'll see. All right, next up we've got Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston, and the sequel to this is coming out, I think, sometime in the next few months for sure, and I definitely going to be picking up. I mean, it's like Men in Black meets something supernatural, they said. I don't know. But it's like kind of whimsical, but kind of dark. But of course I loved it because it's like our world with like supernatural elements. Of course I was going to love it. You know, spunky main character. Like it's fantastic. It's so good. I've only read the first book because it's the only one out. So And then next, in a similar vein, we have the Nevermore series by Jessica Townsend, which I've read the first 3 books. They're also all right there between The Diviners and Strange Dreamer, so obviously I love them. And this series is just so whimsical and fun, and I loved the first book. Like, I think I remember listening to this first book, and I was at some sort of furniture store. I can literally picture where I was when I was listening to this first book. So that, I feel like that says a lot. And I was just smiling the whole time because I just thought it just makes me so happy. It just makes me so happy. And book 3, man, book 3 did something that I really need book 4. So book 4 I think comes out this October. Can't wait. I might pre-order it. Like, can't wait. Next we have the Dresden Files, which I have a review for the very first book, also on my channel for this one. Look at me. And the first book I really, really enjoyed. I think I gave it like a 4-star. It was pure entertainment. Second book, it was just so... The second book was fine. Like, the first book was pretty great, and the second book was just fine. So I'm gonna read the third book. I thought it was the third book. Everybody says where the series takes off, but maybe it was the fourth book. But I'm okay. I can give it 4 books. Like, I don't care, because I really enjoyed the first book. So that's kind of like gonna carry me through to whenever they get good. But the second book was, what's the word? Just kind of boring. Like, I don't feel like it had didn't have the same like compulsively readableness as the first book, and it didn't have the same, just wasn't really vibing as much with Harry in the second one. Like, I just didn't connect with him as much. In the first book though, I really liked him, and I thought that he was a very interesting character to follow, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen next? And then the second book, it was kind of like that. It just was, I don't know, and it's about werewolves in the second book, so like I really thought that would like be my thing, and I don't know. But I'm definitely going to continue the series, and the way it's discussed and the way people talk about it, like, and it's paranormal mystery, like my thing. It's my thing, easily my thing. So definitely gonna continue. I'm excited. I'm gonna read them all in audiobook, because the first two I definitely see people. James Marsters has narrated. He's also, if you don't know, he also has narrated Lord of Shadows and Queen of Air and Darkness, and he's phenomenal at those narrations, because I think he'd already narrated like several of the Dresden Files books by that point. But yeah, no, I don't think he's really found his stride as a narrator yet in the first 2 Dresden Files books, but I know he'll get there because I've listened to him in other stuff. Okay, next we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which I gave the first book 5 out of 5 stars. 5 out of 5 stars. Like, and it has a very high rating, and it's well deserved in my opinion. And I just loved it. I just loved it so much. And then I read the second book, and I also loved it. Not as much as the first book, but I loved it. And the answer to the mystery in the second book is so satisfying. And I just finished that, like, again, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm clearly, my timeline on this is, I don't know, I didn't read all these books 2 or 3 weeks ago, but you know, sometime this year. I just can't wait for that conclusion. Like, I can't wait for that conclusion. I've heard it's so good. All right, now we're getting into like the top 4. So these are like ones that I'm so excited for. So next we have the Mistborn Trilogy by Brandon Sanderson, which I have a spoiler-free and spoiler-filled review of the first book. I also have that for any book that I mentioned that I have a review for. It'll be linked in the description. So, but this is so hyped, and I annotated it, so I enjoyed it a lot. It was like over 4, but not quite a 5, because Sanderson's writing is, I mean, it's nothing to run and tell mom about, but it was pretty good. It was pretty great. It was really great, actually. I don't know what I'm saying. Like, it was, the magic in here, as everyone says, is so good. But I'm just so intrigued to see, I know there's like that saying that there's always another secret. Can't wait. I know there's gonna be a lot of reveals, and I live for reveals, so I can't wait. Okay, next up we have a series that has just gotten a Netflix adaptation. We love LGBT, here we stand, and like, this is like the most wholesome, beautiful thing to exist in the last few years. Like, it is, like, Heartstopper, like, I read volume 1 and I was like, I feel like this is overhyped. No, keep going, because volume 2, even cuter. Volume 3 and volume 4 are some of the most emotionally impactful things I've read in a graphic. Like, these are Alice Oseman. I'm literally like, the way volume 4, I cannot wait for volume 5. Like, volume 5 is just gonna, like, volume 4 was so good. I don't know how she could do something better than that, but I feel like she will, because she's Alice Oseman and she just like will. So, but Heartstopper is like so amazing. Like my Instagram, like after the show came out, like my Instagram was just heart, like all Heartstopper. Just if you are, it doesn't matter if you're a gay man. You can be anything. You can be like, this series has everything. This series has a trans character. It has gay characters, bi characters, asexual character. Is there an asexual character? I don't know if there's an asexual character, but there's bi characters, gay characters, trans characters, you know. And of course the show is beautifully diverse, and like the acting is so good. Like it's just like, this is everything the world needs. Everything, this means everything's good with the world. Okay, and next we have to talk about the series that I am the most, like I'm anticipating the next release in this series, like more than anything else. Like I'm anticipating it so bad, and it was just pushed back to January. And like, if you know me and you look at my channel, like literally when I started this channel, it was like only Shadowhunter content. That was it. That was all I came on the scene to discuss, was just Shadowhunter books. And like, this is the second on the list. Okay, like this is so high up there, and I need Chain of Thorns like now. Like I need it now, because like literally this is like, Cassie Clare's books are, if you were to take a lot of elements from Supernatural, The Vampire Diaries, Teen Wolf, like, and then like just like, but like the stuff in Supernatural that focuses on like angels and demons, you just really focus on that, but you add like so many LGBT characters. Like you add everything. And we have autism rep, and I won't say what book, but like we've got these books mean so much to me. Like, probably more than anything ever probably could mean to me. I don't know, but any books could mean to me. And phenomenal, just phenomenal. I cannot wait. Like I need to like pull up to Cassie's house. I need that next book. I need it. All right, number one, the series I am the most excited for. Another very polarizing, although the rating is so high on Goodreads that like, I don't know. It's the King Killer Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. I've only read Name of the Wind, and I think I read maybe 70, 80 pages of this, and I was loving it. There's also this short story that's supposed to take place, I think, after the second book. And then there's also a short story in that Rogues collection with George R.R. Martin and several other authors that I'm interested in, all of them. But this is definitely, like, I am so upset that I read the first book, because like we never know when the third book is coming out. Like we never know, and is it going to come out? We don't know. But at least I still have some more stuff to read at this point. Like I still have these to read for now, and I'm worried about like this thing people talk about. I won't talk about it here, but there's like a certain thing that goes on for 100 pages apparently in this book that makes me nervous. But I think even with that, I will still love this book. I think so. But this, again, this just like has so many things I love. But it's high fantasy. So clearly, I don't know. But we're following like this character. He's telling you his life story. I need the next book. I need the next book. And there we go. We have reached the end of this list, and oh man, I am just staring at this pile of books, like so overwhelmed. Luckily, I need to unhaul because some of them I'm just not going to continue. We know I'm not going to continue them. I need to unhaul them. But yeah, how many series are you in the middle of? I would love to know. And are any of these like ones that you're in the middle of and you're excited, you want a buddy read, let me know. I will leave my Instagram, Goodreads, and Twitter all in the description box if you want to check them out. Otherwise, have a great day. Bye.